Welcome back, everybody, to the brand new episode of the Lookout Podcast. This is episode 146, and we are here with the finale of our Jujutsu Kaisen, kind of like, journey through the first season as we prepare for the second season. I'm, of course, Meelz. I'm here with LJ himself. LJ, what is up, bro?
What's good? If you're listening to this, it's already passed, but happy Easter to you good people.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. If you saw my Instagram story, I'm getting cooked. So
rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
There's just some images I just don't share on the internet, but
I put myself on a chopping block with that one, but
I don't share it because of Justin, by the way, because he's fucking weird.
Oh, because he
has a folder on everybody, so that's usually why I don't share anything. But we are also joined here by special grade guest. To be honest with you,
special grade, super.
Yeah, listen.
Is there something higher than special grade?
Not yet, but don't hold your
breath. This is what this guy is.
Absolutely. We have, of course, co-host of the War Report, none other than, and just, you know what? The JoJo agenda, which has never come back.
Ever.
It's a one shot. You know what? Fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. But we have Cyrus here in the building himself. Cyrus, what's up, man?
Hello. I'm here. I'm sorry for my voice. I've been trying to make sure my throat pause is okay before I did this, and it just never got right. This is the best I've sounded all weekend. So
damn, is it still the WrestleMania thing that cooked your voice?
I don't think so, because I'm weird, because at shows I don't really
that's what I
go crazy.
In my brain. A second after I said it, I was like, I cannot imagine Cyrus cheering for wrestling.
I'm not that guy, but just the crazy temperature changes between Miami and Los Angeles just killed me. Way more colder than I thought it'd be out there, and then I was bundled. I was kind of bundled up going into the airport, and then I got back to Miami and I was sweating bricks, and then body just freaked the fuck out after that. So
I don't know.
It's the weather, man. It's kind of that time of the year, though, man. The season is changing. This is usually when niggas be getting sick.
Yeah,
especially me. Allergies, all that shit. It start whooping my ass once it starts getting warm.
Yeah, I did the War Report, and I was fine. I felt great. Next day, I was cooked.
Well, listen, glad you're still here to join us for this journey, because we're finalizing this. I'm interested. I have this question for you, Cyrus. So we initially came to you with this idea when we were going to do these 4 episodes, and I told you pick one, pick whichever arc you want to do. Why did you pick this arc? Just a question.
So first, I was down to talk about anything JJK.
Right. And I'd imagine so.
Yeah. So it was just whatever other guests didn't pick,
You were the first one we told. You were the first one, and then ended up being kind of the only one who fucking showed up. But
I was like, put me in reserve. I'll talk about whatever nobody else wants to talk about. I'll be that guy. I'll substitute in. And then looking back at this, this arc, it plants the seeds for so much that goes into a lot of JJK going forward, and a lot of the payoff in this. You don't get it to 100 or 200 chapters later, which is insane to say, but the seeds are being planted.
Listen, well, first of all, let's talk about, you watched the first season, obviously. Was there a high? Is this the high point of the first season for you? Do you feel like there's a high point previously?
I would definitely say Yuji learning the Black Flash is always good. A little bit of the stuff where him and Manami, even though that's two episodes and an extra scene. I don't really care about the Junpei stuff. I don't like him. Like I don't like Junpei at all.
Oh yeah, listen. Shout out to the gang. We anti Junpei over here.
I think
we
he's
broke
a
him
fucking
down.
loser.
We broke him down. Yes, we essentially kind of like he kind of deserved it, maybe. You know,
like dog's an incel, bro. Like
yeah, he's a
and he got his first bit of power, and then he
yeah.
started instantly wanted to get revenge with it, not make his life better.
He flew too close to the sun and then got burned. So you know,
Yeah,
it
and
is what it is.
yes, he was manipulated, but he was still an ass. Like he still went school for like full curse school shooter on niggas, and that's not cool, man.
Curse school shooter is crazy.
Interesting. Nonetheless, all right. So that's great to hear. We're gonna cover. So what we're gonna do for this episode is, the first half of this episode is going to be because I don't have any actual anime news. Like I don't know. Go watch Spring Anime. Go watch Hell's Paradise.
Oh yeah, Hell's Paradise is so good. I don't know.
I was recommended it yesterday. I was gonna watch it today. I see it didn't have the 3 episodes yet, so I couldn't do the 3 episode rule. So I'm just gonna wait one more week before tapping in.
That's an interesting rule to have. Listen, I'm not mad at that rule. Wait 3 episodes to see what happened.
Yeah, if it's not good in the first 3, I'm out of here.
To be honest
with you,
over. I would recommend people for Demon Slayer to just wait after the first 3 episodes because nothing happens in this first episode. That drops.
Hey man, this week. Real Demon Slayer stand over here. I'm watching every episode week to week, baby.
I'm just saying you could wait the first 3 weeks. Ain't nothing happening. Trust me.
Ain't no waiting around here, partner.
You know what? Fair is fair. Listen, how much? All right. So Cyrus, how much would I have to pay you to watch like 1 episode of My Hero Academia?
I would do it for free, but you won't get me to say anything nice about it.
Okay, all right.
Because I've already watched the first one.
Well, no, not the first episode. The first episode is never the best episode of this fucking thing.
I gave My Hero the 3.
First 3 episodes. Listen, it doesn't even really get good till like episode 8, to be honest with you. But I wouldn't recommend that episode. I'm gonna pick a standalone episode, just something by its own. Drop you off in the middle of the series and like, oh, okay. Maybe I would like to know how we got here, or maybe I would like to see where we go from here.
For some background information, I'm not a big My Hero stan or fan at all. I just think it lacks a lot of stuff that I like from other sorts of media. Like, and whenever I try to ask, like, y'all can't say I don't try to get into it because I ask all the questions.
Yeah,
you do.
And every answer I get, it sucks. I hate it.
No, I mean, you ask questions for the. I mean, I don't know. We're close to the fucking end anyway. It doesn't matter.
I asked like, what's the world building like and all that stuff, and it was just like, that sounds fucking stupid.
No, well, My Hero has great world building. There's at least 70 characters that you actually kind of care about. And they managed to juggle them in an interesting way. I don't know. I'm not going to go into this. This is a JJK episode. Nonetheless, we are here, obviously, to discuss the final arc of the first season. Jujutsu Kaisen's death painting arc, or according to the anime, the origin of obedience arc, which no one calls it.
Nobody calls JJK arcs with their like
actually supposed to be called.
Yeah, no one calls it the origin of obedience. Come on, man. That doesn't death painting. Come on, man. What's a death painting about? That's where I tap in. So
the origin of obedience sounds too slavery to me.
I mean, trying to piece together the origin of obedience.
He not lying, but I also don't get the obedience thing. Like,
I'm trying to figure out where the obedience part is.
What are we being obedient about and for?
All right,
because it sounds very anti-black. I'm just saying. There's some racism undertones to that.
This arc is 3 episodes. I forget how many chapters. 15.
Yeah,
14?
Just about.
Okay, so it's about 3. It's the shortest one of the first arc. It's definitely the one that's like, let's prepare you for the second season, but we don't want to skip out on any of this action shit neither. So just to kind of lay out the scene from here. They're task. I mean, after this whole Kyoto shit, where they're trying to figure out like who's this mole and all this other stuff like that, they still have a day jobs to do, so they're tasked on another mission. Um, the mission is that people are being mysteriously killed in their doorway because their apartments are left open, which sounds like a real actual. You don't have to do any curses for me to be afraid of that shit. Coming home, my door open, and trying to figure out why the reason getting killed. That's more than enough fear for me. The home invasion curse. Home
Basically.
invasion devil. Home invasion devil of Chainsaw Man is coming. You know what I'm
The
saying?
flocking devil, bro. That's what it is. Man.
The backdoor
flocking. Backdoor devil, bro.
You don't have to spell too much out for me. So the link is for whatever reason they all attended the same junior high school for 2 years, and they were all cursed, and it may have taken years to manifest. So there's a whole bunch of like backstory that's added to this entire thing. I mean, they go to the junior high school. We find out it's Megumi's old high school. We find out essentially about Megumi's backstory. Please take it away, Cyrus.
In the manga, it says junior high, and I assume that's just middle school for them.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so
that's what I call it. I mean, it's y'all don't call them middle school, junior high.
No, I have never been to. I think I've been to a junior high once, and then I transferred schools.
Interesting. No, it's the same shit.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured.
It's just a different
name. What is junior high for y'all? Because 6th grade just got added to junior high here, so it's like 6th, 7th, 8th grade is what junior high / middle school.
I assume, yeah, that is nuts. But I assume junior highs are just 6 to like 6th grader to 12. Like it's a middle school and a high school combined. That's what I thought it was.
I never thought about that, but realistically, I've always assumed junior high is just middle school because it's always 6 through 8 for me. And the fact that it wasn't 6 through 8 other places in this country realized that I'm in a small world.
Yeah, 6th graders just started getting grouped into junior high here, probably like a couple years ago.
That's crazy. All right, well, you know what? Fair. Honestly, how was middle school staying in business if it was only 2 grades?
It's a hellish 2 years too, bro. It's like 7th and 8th grade were like that was the real trenches. High school was a breeze. Junior high, that's when niggas was really getting into some shit.
Well, listen, for Megumi it was a breeze because he was beating up every fucking body he was in the middle school. He was the. I don't even think he was a bully. He was just like the.
He was the Robin Hood. He was the Robin Hood enforcer. He made sure the little guy didn't get picked on.
He kept everybody in line. Yeah, you know what? And he was a one man Tokyo Revengers. How about that?
God. Hey, he was definitely cheating, bro. Like you were beating up on regular niggas with your curse energy, bro. That's wild.
Man, that's very true. Very, very true. So we find out a little bit about Sumiki, who is Megumi's older half sister. But no one uses half in this fucking thing. They don't even mention half. They're like his older sister.
They're like black families. You don't really call your
I guess. No, you're right. Who I put in my notes, who becomes a notable deal later in the series. We'll get to that. Megumi wants to save her from being cursed, but he's kind of being like not dramatic about it. He's actually being way more coy about it than he probably should be, because this is something that he generally, I don't think he likes having weaknesses or things that could possibly be used against him, or things, or like personal stuff. He doesn't like have any true attachment to anything, so he doesn't necessarily want to seem like he has like worries, but he does. It's the one thing that he worries about. His older sister's in a coma, has not awoken yet. He wants to save his sister from being cursed. That becomes a part of this as well. We learn that, well, we learned at the end of the last arc, but Mahito came in, stole the 3 death painting wounds during the time of the tournament, and fed it to one of the humans to resurrect a special grade curse that we're going to see a little bit later in this arc. another bit of backstory in this. It's just backstory until we reach action.
Yeah, that's why
it turns it.
I hate this first episode. I think this first episode, the first episode of this arc is terrible.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of like dumping information on you.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of learn that Megumi's a little bit of a dickhead. I mean, that's just the big part. It's kind of
yeah. I mean, we find out from one of the older sisters of one of the classmates that the older sister and Sumiki went to a bridge to bungee jump off the bridge or fake bungee jump off the bridge.
No, it's basically the Boys in the Hood thing. It's like you want to see a dead body and then you got cursed. That's basically what it is.
Okay. All right. Well, they said something about jumping off the bridge. But, you know, they went to the bridge at night and now their doors are open and his sister went with her. And now, you know, all this bunch of stuff like that. Megumi tries to send Yuji and Nobara off, but they want to join him anyway because they're also good people and also the protagonists and tritagonists of the series. And, you know, Sumiki's in a suspended state of sleep. And he's worried a cursed spirit could kill her. So he needs to exercise it now. So they all go down to the bridge and see what's popping. All right. That was a lot. Action time. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it.
It turns into a showcase. I mean, that's really what this last little arc was. It's to showcase how much stronger these guys have gotten since the last time we've seen them fight, which, to be honest, wasn't that long ago. So
yeah, I mean, realistically, but this is Megumi's coming of age episode. You know what I'm saying? The part where he kind of realizes that he needs to overcome his own Sasuke-ness to become an actual true his own. Don't compare him
to Sasuke.
But he needs to overcome his own like lack of like
edgy.
Yeah, and he just needs to like let loose. That's essentially what Gojo's saying in this entire thing. Like, so Megumi goes in. I mean, all three of them go in to find the cursed spirit of the bridge, and they find more that they're asking for. They also find one death painting, and then they find out another death painting. But they find a death painting Kichuzu, who is this big green, nasty looking shit. Kind of like when they did in the first mission, Nobara was kidnapped. So let's get her out of the picture.
Why she always got to be kidnapped, man?
She a threat.
She's a threat. It's just easy. You get real heel heat for kidnapping a girl. We learn that the mission was to retrieve Sukuna's finger from the death paintings were sent on this mission also to retrieve Sukuna's finger. Yuji and Nobara go off on their other thing to fight these death paintings while Megumi takes on the the curse of the bridge, which ends up looking like the original curse from the fucking prison.
The detention center.
Detention center. Let's talk about Megumi's kind of like development here. Kind of like, what's your favorite part regarding this? Because he goes through kind of like he experiences something. He does this. He wants to do the noble thing where he puts his life on the line to save everybody else. But Gojo's like, why?
It's making him significantly weak. It's making him significantly weaker by trying to be a martyr or some shit.
He's too much of a strategist. I think he even brings it up when he's talking about like, you know, the baseball game. He's like, well, why did you lay down a sacrifice bunt? And like in hindsight, you're playing baseball. That's a good play. You get the person to move over. You're playing for the team. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Yada, yada, yada. But he's like, essentially, he's just like, but why don't you swing for the fences like ever though? Like you're always trying to, you're always in a weird way.
He wants to be a role player.
Yeah. When in reality, he has superstar power.
Yeah.
Or superstar potential.
And I think that's great. And I think when Gojo says that, it didn't click for me on the third or the fourth. It really didn't click to me until like this, like the fifth watch, where Gojo's just like, you have the potential to like really be something serious, like something even better than Yuji. And I think that's what Sukuna like saw at first.
It does help that Sukuna is like also like You know what? This guy right here. I'm gonna keep my 4 eyes on this motherfucker right here. But yeah, no, Megumi is essentially. I mean, all this stuff is great analysis in terms of like kind of what goes on with him, and I think he has his own awakening from that standpoint once he realizes, like, yeah, it's time to swing for the fences. We see stuff like the Shikigami Divine Dog Totality, which is awesome. It reminds me of our JJK shirt that we never actually released. Which may get a release at some point. At this point in the future, we need funds. But Megumi is shocked and realizes cursed victims have been dying. Well, all right, I'm skipping too far ahead in my notes. We go through these fighting thing. It's a good back and forth kind of fight. I feel like Megumi thinks he has him pinned down. The spirit, the curse takes gets the best of Megumi. Yeah, he takes a new form and gets the best of Megumi. Megumi has his flashback. We see he activates his domain expansion Chimera Shadow Garden.
Which is fire, by the way.
Yeah, fire name, but also it's referred to as just like an area expansion since he doesn't really got the domain part right yet, which I'm just like, you got to get it together, brother. And he still didn't get it together. And I don't think he ever will.
But he's also holding in this kind of fact that he realizes that, and I'm going kind of back and forth about this, Megumi also realizes that these cursed victims began dying in June, the same month that Yuji incarnated Sukuna. But doesn't really want to tell him because he's like, might fuck this nigga up internally. But so they're essentially he's going against this, this curse that has Sukuna's fingers. He uses Chimera Shadow Garden. Badass appears from beneath a shadow. This is the kind of shit that you don't. I felt like I wanted to see more, and it does come up later in the actual series itself. Like Megumi really using his shadow shit to like hide in or like come out of or like surprise attack kind of shit. I feel like he should use it more, but also I guess they don't want it to become too gimmicky for him. But he has mad at Shikigami, so it is what it is. We see a flashback, and Megumi was a kid. He had a father who is yet to be named, but will be seen. Trust me, will be seen, will be heard, will be felt.
King.
Real king shit, bro. Real king.
I remember initially when we were covering this back in the day, we were covering JJK episode, and I think Carlos was on that episode, and he was telling me about his, Megumi's dad, and I was like, wow, I really got to read this shit, huh? And I read it, and he's fucking awesome, and everyone's about to see it. But he was a kid with a father and a stepmother that disappeared without a trace. I don't know. I guess I did a Jim from The Office kind of look off screen, but you can't really see it. You can only hear it. But Dojo stepped in to support Megumi and his sister, so Megumi wouldn't have to be sold off to the Zenin family. But overall, after this battle, Megumi requires Sukuna's finger, and then he passes out after this battle. So,
what's up with him and passing out on the battlefield
every time?
Every time, like he's just like, nah, I'm finna just take a nap, like right here where niggas is just fighting.
You know what? That's a good question. May need some, context on this. Let's go over to Nabaru and Yuji, who are doing like this tag team battle with the death paintings. So the death painting wounds origin story is one of the sickest shit that I've ever read or seen. A random woman, I think, was capable of giving. I'm saying, I think. I'm not sure.
You think it's gonna be a crazy reveal?
It's gonna be some crazy reveal. It was also him.
Gojo's mom.
Right? Something crazy. It's like the baby in My Hero Academia is like this one baby just had a quirk, and now quirk human society exists. Don't hold that against My Hero Academia. But a woman was capable of giving birth to a human spirit hybrid, ran off to a temple where Noritoshi Kamo, the most evil sorcerer in history, ended up controlling her. And they performed experiments on her, which resulted in having her 9 pregnancies and subsequently she had 9 abortions, leading to the creation of death painting wounds. Now, I believe they couldn't be, you can't just kill them, which is why they're just wounds. You can't just like disintegrate them. They don't really die.
Too much curse energy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Fetuses. Wombs.
Babies, babies with bad energy, man.
Yeah.
It's like it's like that tweet. It's like that tweet. I know why. What if the baby had bad energy? That's why the dad didn't want to be around. Bad vibes.
So we get 3 of these death painting wounds. They're alive. They're kicking. One of them is called, we already seen the little green shit. It's called Ketchuzu, and the other one is called Eso. And they have this tag team battle with Yuji and Nobara, which is, I mean, Mappa said, you know what? Let's leave him with a little something. You know what I'm saying? Let's, I mean, Gege ultimately writes and does this thing, but Mappa animates it. Go off, Cyrus.
I watch this episode all the time.
That's like such a good episode.
This arc might suck, or like those first 2 episodes might be ass, but episode 24,
yeah,
that shit went platinum in my household.
It's an interesting way. I mean, I think I don't know if they anticipated on both these curse. I mean, they're special grade at this point. Like they're supposed to be like threatening, but realistically, like Nobara takes it up to like this like sick sadist level, kind of masochistic as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she goes OD. I was like, dang, she might be Puerto Rican. How crazy she is, man. I was just like,
said, oh, you poison me? Yeah, we about to go band for band, nigga.
She was like, let's go, bro, band for band. Just pulling out bands out the backpack. Like, come on, the stacks keep going.
She uses her straw doll technique with, to essentially be like, if I'm going to decay, you guys are going to die. And it's essentially a game of chicken of like who's gonna let go of their curse technique first. Yuji, who is fucking OP in this series because he carries Isakuna's vessel, is not affected by such foolishness from your normal special grade curse user.
Which I was just like, how convenient? How convenient is
that? Oh yeah, he doesn't get poisoned or decayed or shit like that. He's fucking Sukuna.
The king of poisons.
So, which I've never heard of like Sukuna being like king of poisons in anything that I've seen him in.
Since and then later. But Yuji beats the shit out of Kachuza. Beats the holy shit. Yeah, really to the point where it's like Esso's like, yo, I gotta save my brother. Do I let go of this technique and go back to the wing shit? Or do I like keep it on and hope they die? And Kachizu's essentially like, brother, like this shit hurts.
I'm getting cooked, brother.
He's punching me in my lungs. Like he's killing me. And I'm a curse. So imagine how this shit might legit feels. So eventually Esso releases he deactivates his technique, goes back to the wing.
He unintentionally does it because he's like, oh, I'm just gonna fight Yuji, fuck it, and then he sees like his brother in so much pain, and then just like cuts it off like via his mind.
Yeah,
and then that just leaves him open to just further ass whoopings.
Yeah, Yuji and Nobari both activate Black Flash, which is a bad time for any fucking villain at this point.
The music at this part.
Oh yeah,
when they kick, that's why I really watch this shit so many times. When the music stops and they hit the Black Flash together, I think that shit is so cool. And then
this shit is hard.
The way that the manga describes it is just like, Nobara was like in so much pain, but she's so fucking focused right now.
Yeah,
Yuji is just nasty with it.
They equate Black Flash to, if it's in sports terms, called the zone. It's essentially like Mamba mentality type shit. Like you don't feel shit, you just aim. It's just there to win. Which I'm like, what? Nuts. I mean, all right, cool.
That's
I guess it's yeah. So Kachuzu's. Nobara activates it, sends a nail through Kachuzu's head. Yuji punches off Esso's arm completely. Kachuza goes for the kill on Nobara, but with hairpin, she blows off Kachuza's actual head. I wrote sick shit in my fucking thing. They realize Kachuza is flesh and blood because they aren't disappearing.
Like regular cursed
spirits. Yeah. So Yuji still is, I mean, he's pursuing Esso himself. Nobara uses a straw doll technique on Esso's severed arm to really kind of like put Yuji in position to take him out of his fucking misery. And Yuji apologizes during it, but kills him.
It's like,
and that,
it's like this New Jack City. Niggas started crying before he shot his mans.
Shoso, the third painting, who was just not on the scene, he's like, all right, I guess he's playing games with Mahito and Geto.
Not realizes that brothers.
Realizes that his brother's fake. Realizes that his brothers is dead, and now they're like, damn, who was he killed by? Those two, kids from Jujutsu High. Damn those kids. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think any of them say damn those kids. I think they're excited.
They were just like, damn, those first years went crazy.
Yeah, they
were like, ooh wee. It was like, niggas was stupid.
They get back Sukuna's finger. They meet up with Megumi. Yuji, Megumi's like, since you're the strongest, Yuji, hold on to the finger. Sukuna pops out with his mouth on Yuji's hand and eats the finger. And yeah, another finger down for Yuji. And then the rest of the episode is like this real like post-credit scene.
Yeah, basically. Which
we're setting up. We're setting up for the next couple of arcs. Gojo's trying to figure out the mole who let the cursed spirits in to know the location of the tournament. They put in a recommendation for Yuji, Megumi, Nobara, Maki, and Panda to be promoted to grade 1 sorcerers. I don't think they're actually promoted.
No,
I could be wrong.
Because the incident happens and it postpones everything.
Yeah, so...
and it's still postponed.
Yeah, it's still postponed now.
I mean, it is what it is, but we know them. We know their body. And that's kind of it for this arc. It's not a long arc, but it's certainly fun to watch if you like watching gory fucking final battles with fucking great music. And
it's a showcase, like I said. It's these niggas going crazy.
But go ahead.
No, it's legit them going, like, all three of them have a highlight moment of them doing some type of special. They're, some type of attack. It's they up the stakes just a little bit, adding in some more villains, and now you got this third death painting. You're like, oh shit, now he's coming after. Now he's got some mark on their head.
Right, and you really see the development of our big three of this series from when they first started to where they're at now. And I think that's what truly matters coming out of this arc, is that these three are poised to face kind of anything that's coming in their way. And, they've been talking about October 31st in this series since like episode 3 or 5. You know what I'm saying? So there is something looming. There's something big looming along this thing. Cyrus mentioned that there are a lot of things kind of like hinted at or laid out in this arc that we may not see until later on after the fact. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, first of all, if you're listening thus far, this is a short episode. I'm sorry. But we're about to go into the spoiler section of this episode. So if you do not like spoilers, if you do not read the manga, if you do not read or absorb any of that stuff, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a great 30 minutes with you. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more conversations to talk about. But the spoiler section is going to be pretty heavy considering we're at the end of this, season. Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that's beginning to play out in the current manga and where everything has moved forward. I mean, season 1 is a great layout for what this series actually is. And you kind of learn about the curses. You see your big bads. You see your heroes. You kind of lay out the sides of like good and evil, and then also I guess in chapter 0 too, lay out the sides of good and evil. From here on out, things are in motion and things are happening, and I think that's kind of like where we're gonna get in season 2. Well, we're for sure getting that in fucking season 2. So if this has been anything, it's been a great preview to kind of laying out and get great reminder to let you know what we have in store. But we got to get to the spoiler section, so thank you guys for tuning in. Let's head over to the spoiler section right now. Cyrus, you have been... Right. Yeah, you're in your element. Flip the page to like the other million notes of like cool shit that you're talking about.
Yeah, talk about this. All the shit that I had to hold back on.
Yeah, talk about this arc and kind of like everything that's kind of come from this arc that you've noticed or seen and what's coming from it.
If you're still here, most likely
congrats
you read the manga
to you.
And if you don't care, you're about to get into some shit. So a lot of the stuff here, obviously, it goes into like a lot of things are going to get played out in about like 100 chapters or 200 chapters and still going on now. But something that I pointed out to Meelz before we started recording was that the brothers that they're fighting, they get really sad when the green one dies. Sorry, Chuzu? I forget.
Chuzu, yes.
He doesn't matter.
Not really.
Like everybody gets really like I say everybody, but like everybody but Nobara gets really sad at that moment, and you kind of have to think that maybe Yuji felt more than what is led on in that moment, because we later get to reveal that he is a curse womb painting or whatever, and that's why he says he's sorry when he fires off that shit in his chest.
Is it like explicitly said? I don't think it's explicitly said, but it's definitely like you can come to the conclusion based off all the hints that's kind of been like, played out here.
Yeah, I don't know because there's 9 of them, and I don't know if these are the first 3 or the last 3, or we're all seeing the last 4. Or some shit like that. Who knows? But I definitely think that Yuji probably felt something because he is connected to them in some shape or fashion.
Do you think we've come across another one of them in this series that we have yet to find out? All right,
no. I feel that it would have been more prevalent if it was, or
I feel
at
like
least
it would have been outwardly said, because the cat's out the bag with Gato, being.
Kachuzu. No, not Kachuzu. Fuck, what's his name?
Yeah, I forget his name.
No, it's Noratishu, the guy who took over Noratishu Kamo. Gosh, sorry. I just want to make
Kenjaku?
Sure No. Yes, Kenjaku. Kenjaku.
Yeah, well, that's the name he's going by now, right?
Right. So, all right. So I know from this particular arc, I think this arc is interesting where we're, picking this up at currently and where we're at in the manga, because there's a lot of things with Sumiki that isn't really kind of like played out until, like you said, 100 chapters after this.
For her, so we're going to dial it back a little bit. So Megumi's sister, she goes into the bridge that gets everybody cursed or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then after Megumi kills the thing that's inside, in the manga, he says, all I did was get rid of the bridge curse. My sister's sleeping curse is a separate matter. And you don't get that, and you don't know what the sleeping matter is or what comes from that until 200 chapters later.
Well, yeah. Let us know. Talk about it.
Megumi's sister is a vessel for some other curse that is apparently in love with Sukuna. Yeah. And I don't know. I thought that reveal was kind of whack. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it felt once again, I think these last couple chapters and everything that's been going on, especially with Sukuna and him switching bodies and this final fight for love, I think like it feels very ass pulley to me.
The real ass pull is just his sister just being another curse that's affiliated with out of nowhere. But the fight for the love, which is really just Sukuna just being like, yeah, I'm about to just play this bitch, which is cool to me.
Is it
he got in his, he getting his future bag. He getting his future bag. Sukuna getting in his future shit.
I do think I think the reveal of it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. The act of it itself is kind of weird. I think the reveal of it is kind of like sick in itself because Megumi's all this time he's waited for his sister to be kind of awake, and he's like, "Oh, she's in the culling games now. Like she's really like food now. Like we got to figure out a way how to get her out of this culling game." And then
she's like, really food.
Oh, transfer her your points. And she's like, "Yeah, transfer me your points." And then she's like, "Actually, I'm making a new rule. You know,
I don't even understand why they decided to give her the points.
Oh man, listen, they weren't thinking straight. They was on some sucker shit at that moment in time where he was just like
give me the points so I could do the thing. And it was just like, nigga, give that shit to Maki.
Yeah. Do anything else. I mean, to be honest with you,
any of your allies that are on the same page as you, just give it to them.
Well, I think his main goal through this entire thing was always to like save his sister. He didn't care about being head of the fucking Zenin clan. He didn't care about being the baddest bitch on the earth. He didn't care about any of that stuff. He just wanted to save his sister, and I feel like he was taken advantage of in this situation because he reached the point where he felt like it was the closest opportunity to really save his sister and get her out of the culling game, get her kind of like away from any immediate danger, and you know. Because at the end of the Shibuya incident arc, I think it's where Megumi is probably at his most vulnerable at that point, where he really says like, "Yuji, can you help me save essentially my sister," which is something I don't think Megumi ever really kind of like gives up in that sort of way. Because usually he's someone like, "I'll do this myself," but he's established his friendship with Yuji up to this point to be able to do these kind of things. He finally reaches the point. They're right in front of it. And then the reveal is, you transfer me my points. Actually, I'm not the fucking, I'm not your sister at all.
Come on, son.
I'm the, I don't know, queen of demons. I don't know.
They can't even pinpoint when that shit infiltrated her body.
Yeah. I mean,
get this shit out.
It came out of nowhere. Like
we're still trying to figure out Kenjaku's whole his whole journey through all of this as well, right?
I get his character at this point. He's just a mad scientist.
Yeah, he likes playing the strings, bro. Like he's the puppet master. He likes the feeling that he's in control of everything that's going on right now.
And
the only factor he knows he ain't controlling is Sukuna.
Yeah, which is like whatever a variable or whatever science term or whatever.
So they gave Sumiki 100 points so she could leave the game. And that she did not. She says, add a rule allowing entry and exit across colony boundaries, borders. And then Megumi's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm not your fucking sister," And then that's when
she laughs at his face.
Yeah, that's when all hell breaks loose all over again. And it's a different thing. She says, "I'm your big sister. Da, 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 da. I am Yorozu." Maybe people of the past would know about me. I don't know. There's gotta be. I don't know if they're gonna do that Naruto thing where they do a whole past arc featuring people. They did a couple past chapters, but my thing about this series is I feel like there's still a lot of backstory to kind of fill out.
Yes, a lot.
And to kind of we've laid all these seeds of stuff by referencing a lot of stuff that's happened in the past. A lot of stuff has happened now, but we still haven't got all the stuff that was kind of figured out from all the past stuff that's been referenced. We've gotten maybe 2 chapters about Yuji's backstory, and 2 chapters is a stretch. They were mentioned in 2 chapters. You know what I'm saying?
Mentioned in passing about his mother and stuff, and then you barely see
dad,
the stitching on her head or whatever.
Yeah, and that's when we find out that Yuji is the son, or came to birth of Kenjaku, and Kenjaku is kind of like his mom, which is kind of like this weird shit. It gets a little bit, and we're in this current arc where now Yarazu and Sukuna are fighting against each other in the vessel, but they're in love with each other, but they're also in the vessel of brother and sister. Which is weird as fuck.
I don't think they're in love with each other. I just think that like this girl really willing to do his bidding, and he's just like,
she ready to die for this nigga.
Yeah, it's just she's literally like willing to die for him, and that shit's weird.
Yeah, and he's kind of just like whatever about it. He's like, all right, cool. If you're gonna do it, then do it.
We're at an interesting point. Is there anything else notable from maybe not even these episodes, but just from season 1 that you kind of seen play out a lot further down that you was like, oh wow, we actually got that?
Not that I could think of right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? I said it earlier in the thing. It was great. You kind of forget that the first kind of like, you really see Gojo versus Sukuna as like one of the first major battles of the series just in general. Because this is kind of like the result that we're trying to push towards at this thing. We're trying to free Gojo, so Gojo comes in and really whoops everybody's ass. And you kind of get a barometer. Yeah, it's very One Punch Man, 40 episodes until One Punch Man actually shows up and starts punching people.
Yeah.
But they're trying to get him to the point. I don't know where. So what's your predictions for Gojo? Like, let's talk about it. Let's do some heavy predicting. What's your prediction for Gojo? Because Angel Girl was the only thing that could free him, and her head was bitten off.
I fucking hate that. Also, girl, if you're so goddamn powerful, do some reverse curse technique, bro.
Yeah, come on, man. Heal yourself. Come on. Let's get it. Everyone's dying here.
I don't know what happens with Gojo at this point.
It's interesting because Sukuna is taking over Megumi's body. So if Gojo is definitely freed and has to go up against Sukuna, he essentially has to go up against Megumi, which is a very interesting. Yeah, I agree. But it's a very interesting prospect of like how he goes about. I'm sure Gojo has a fucking way of like, I'll free his spirit from your body using whatever OP technique I have.
You gonna do the Vegeta spirit, whatever he did against Moro. He's punching and splitting them. His energy,
spirit friction, or whatever the fuck it was called, or something along those lines. It's the whole. I feel like where we're at with JJK right now, because of how long Gojo's been out, we're really just waiting. Yeah, we're really waiting. Everything now seems like, damn, can't wait till Gojo shows up. I think we're really anticipating that he's going to show up and kind of really do a lot of damage, which may take back from the development of a couple characters in it. So I would like to see Gojo. Maybe he comes out of the prison realm and he's like handicapped a little bit. Maybe he doesn't have all of his power right away. Maybe the prison realm. I don't know. He's fucking Gojo.
Well, they set him up to be like, he has like infinite cursed energy. So if he like comes out of the prism and then he has to like boot up back to 100, I'm like, that's cap.
You know what? I've also had, I'd love to discuss this with you too, Cyrus, because I was revisiting the Shibuya incident. I was talking to Jamal about this as well, about Mahito, and kind of like, not that he's coming back because he's gone.
I hate that he's gone in the way.
Here's the thing. I hate that he's gone too, because I was like, yo, he felt like he felt like a real antithesis to Yuji, where it was clearly Gojo and Geto, and kind of like even though it's Kenjaku or something, I guess Kenjaku. Once they reveal it's Kenjaku, all that ghetto shit was out the window. Pun intended. But it felt like a true rival where they both pushed each other to a certain point, and where Yuji pushes Mahito to this certain point where he evolves, he goes past his boundaries, he goes past his limits. And then he's kind of like, oh, I only wanted you for your fucking, your curse technique. And he eats him up and absorbs the curse technique. And who knows if we'll ever see Mahito ever again.
I thought
we probably won't.
I thought
not now in the series. We don't see him again in this series. I don't think now. I think the problem with it is that Mahito is he's too unpredictable. I think that worked for the moments that he was in, but now where we're at, like his character and how he acts and how he reacts, like it's now. Granted, I would love for him to come back. I think that he would. I think just the extraness that he would add would be great, but I think just overall, you can't predict what he is, and I think that's what made his whole moment great, and I think that's why it's gonna be hard for him to come back, because you could see him either like turning on the curses or trying to take somebody. You can just see him doing something really, really unpredictable during this moment, which could maybe or maybe not work.
It wouldn't work for me, because honestly, that sounds very Naruto-esque already. Like with Black Zetsu just taking over. But I do agree that I do think that Mahito was great, and I think he did serve a purpose as, a foil to Yuji. And I no longer think he has a place in this series anymore, because now Kenjaku has taken that unpredictable thing from him.
My thing is, though, I don't think Kenjaku's unpredictable. I mean, he's had this plan laid out since the beginning. Like, he's had the only, and I think where Mahito could fit in is that he could fit in as something that was not planned, that kind of like throws Kenjaku off a little bit off his tilter, because thus far I think this plan is going step by step by step. And I honestly, with this current arc with Sukuna and them, Kenjaku don't even seem like the main nigga anymore.
He's not, like, and that honestly, that's fine with me. But I do think, like, science is very unpredictable, because he's kind of just doing this experiment off the whim.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like he is the unpredictable factor that Mahito used to occupy. So I just don't feel as if there's a place for him anymore.
Right.
But
I mean, I can agree, yeah, for sure.
I feel like if we ever see Kenjaku and Yuji in the same space where they have to fight, I feel like he would use because he all he did was swallow Mahito, so he just releases it like every other curse that that Geto used to do with the Uzumaki shit or whatever. Is be like, oh, Yuji wants to fight, handle my light work, pull him out, and then they fight again. But I think that'd be ass, because I feel like Yuji should be past this nigga already.
That's what I think too. Is that I think Yuji has now become way too strong.
You know what? We're at an interesting point in this series where, I think it's very, I'm about to be wild redundant. Interesting. Yuji's kind of like the only one left. Nobara's gone. Megumi's gone.
You came to terms with it.
Well, not like gone. I mean, gone like not here. She's not gone in my life. She gonna come back with the cyborg eye and fucking.
Yeah, and then she after this whole shit over, she gonna be in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
for sure.
Some straw hat eye or some shit like that. Some eye made out of straw or fucking nails or whatever the fuck it comes out of.
But a nail head eye would be ridiculous.
Like, well, I think like Leatherface.
Yeah,
I think we're building up to eventually Nobara comes back, Megumi comes back, and Gojo comes back, which seems very Naruto-esque now that I think about it. But it's currently Yuji's the only one from the kind of like main character group, that big three that we talked about in season 1, that's currently like kicking, like alive. And he doesn't even have, I mean, luckily he's a fucking death painting. But he really doesn't have any of the, the strength of fear. He doesn't instill any fear in anybody now, because Sukuna's no longer his vessel, which means that yo, we might be able to kill this nigga now. You know what I'm saying?
But I feel like Yuji has a very important thing that we just haven't seen yet, or it hasn't been expressed, because he doesn't have a curse technique.
Right.
He's just strong. and has great physical prowess, and could do a black flash
it's not labeled as heavenly body, right?
Yeah, or any of that weird shit, right? Yeah. So, but whenever somebody dies, they always go, or like whenever somebody like fights Yuji or whatever, and they're about to die, they always feel like that serenity or some shit. Shit, they don't even have to die; they just feel it sometimes. Cursed energy, or like you can only really make a cursed spirit when somebody's like, I guess, vengeful, and then they die.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Yuji can like permanently destroy a curse. And Sukuna might be eradicated from history, yeah? If it comes to that.
It definitely looks like it's going to come to that at some point. They're going to have their face off again. Yuji's currently... I think he's still recovering from being shot through a couple buildings.
Just a typical day, just some light work.
Yeah, because I can't picture while it would be fucking awesome. I can't picture as awesome as Maki is. I can't picture her becoming one of the main things in this series anymore.
Nah,
just because she doesn't have the amount of like. They've done a good job with her backstory, but she doesn't have it. It doesn't hold the weight like Megumi's and Yuji's, and I mean, I don't know. Nobara had that farm that she lived on or something.
I just feel like Maki. She is very strong, but I don't feel like she necessarily like has a part in the very important battles that are to come. Like she might be in it, to help out, but I don't.
Oh yeah, she's knocking off some. She's knocking off all the henchmen, whoever else they got rounded up.
She might pull a Guy Sensei when he like did that one hit on Radar or whatever. We do a lot of Naruto references because Naruto was popular.
And I watched it, so now I can talk about it. But no, I mean this series is definitely it's past it's more than past its halfway point.
I hope so. Shit,
it's probably approaching its ending point. I would hope. I mean, I don't know. The Culling Games is still going on. I had a thing about the Culling Games, like everyone exits except 2 people. That was my prediction.
Oh,
I feel like it would be like
everybody was leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I would just assume, like, I don't know, get a jillion points from
dip out,
killing those U.S. soldiers, and then just granted to everybody to leave, and it leaves like Yuji and fucking Geto or Sukuna just in the game itself.
Could people get points off the U.S.
You can transfer points. I don't know. You can transfer points. I mean,
no, I thought
the Culling game is a weird aspect still because it's still going on. But
I honestly forgot all the rules, and I was like on the what is it? I was on Big Eyes talking about the rules and shit. I forgot them. Honestly.
Yeah, no, you can transfer points now. But I mean, the last part of the Culling games we saw was because they transfer points to
I was gonna say I'm not sure if you can get points off of the soldiers because they don't have cursed energy.
Oh, but I feel like if you enter the space and you're a non-sorcerer, I think you are in the game. You have one opportunity. I just watched this earlier today. That's why I remember all this shit. You have one opportunity to leave the game.
Okay.
But if you don't leave the game, you're considered part of the game. Either way, Culling Games is very much so in the back. Culling Games is very much so in the background of this current arc.
Yeah, even Kijaku was just like, "Shit, I can end this motherfucker."
I mean, I wish I could. You know what I'm saying? But, he's in part 16 of his 25 part plan, and he's just like.
He's like, no, listen, we're in too deep now.
That boy flying out the seat of his pants. He said, damn, I'm right next to Sukuna, bro. That's crazy.
This is nuts. I can't believe he took over that.
He's low-key fanboying right now.
Yeah.
It's like, man, this is amazing. I can't wait.
What a way to get around that binding
the binding vow.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's kind of I mean, I get it, but it was like, damn, that's kind of.
I really do feel like Kenjaku is just really just a mad scientist character, and like pseudo to Orochimaru or like a Kabuto, except their plans are a lot more straightforward. While this dude is just like, yeah, we're just doing experiments on the fly. Like Tokyo right now is just a science lab.
Yeah.
And I get his character now. Before I was like, I don't know what the fuck this nigga is doing.
There's a lot of things going on in JJK right now.
I haven't read since March. So
you haven't read since March?
I haven't read since the fight started between Sukuna and his little side piece.
Yeah. Well, it's over. So
I expected it to be over.
Yeah, it's over. But it's some fun stuff going on. It's very interesting. I think we've reached a certain point now where everything is like, wow, we're truly in the throes of like, now that Sukuna's here, it's like, okay, this is the stuff that we've been trying to realize for the past like 200 fucking chapters.
Yeah.
But now the big other elephant in the room is like, what happens with Gojo, or what happens with Yuji, or kind of like what happens with kind of the rest of the thing. You know what their grand goal is, and if you've read any shonen, you know they will realize their goal, and then it will be vanquished in some fucking main protagonist ass way. Yeah, well, unless Gege's wild, it's like, well, end of game, and here ends the series. The entire world is cursed, so stay tuned for JJK Part 2. I don't think he has it in his body to do a Part 2 for this shit, like Chainsaw Man is. But
shout out to Chainsaw
JJK Part 2. JJK Part 2 would be wicked. That would be
just curses fighting. That's all it would be.
Yeah. Oh my god. Either way, well, Cyrus, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, no problem, man. I love talking JJK.
I'm beginning to love it too. Now that I'm trying to get around. Now that we've got past the Culling Games thing, which I think took up a lot of time, to be honest with you.
Way too much time.
And getting back to like a story with characters that are important to the story. I'm perfectly fine with where we're at currently in JJK. Thank you guys for listening. Of course, you can subscribe to The Lookout at The Lookout on RNC Radio, where you can listen to podcasts anywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, anywhere. You can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/The Lookout RNC. You can also follow us on YouTube, the same name right there. Jamal, any final thoughts on any of this thing? What are you feeling? You caught up to JJK. Are you happy, surprised? Are you kind of like thrown off? Like, where are we at?
I'm a little thrown off. I'm a little confused.
As is the JJK
but listen, this is the way. This is the JJK way. You just stand in the confusion until it finally all makes sense, or until you give up trying to figure it out, and you just kind of take everything at face value.
Listen, it's leading somewhere. Damn it.
I'm at this point, I'm just like, you know what? Shit's happening. That's all I got for you. Shit's happening. People are getting beat up. Curses are around. Somebody's probably gonna end up dying soon. Gojo's still locked up. He's still doing his 24/1. Free my mans. Yeah. Other than that,
days. It's been over 1,000 days since we've seen this man. That is ridiculous.
He has been locked up.
I'm telling you.
You know what? That's a good way to end this. Niggas have been locked up for longer, so who are we to complain about this? Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys. Actually, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. So yeah, take care.